His voice caught with relief. "I was so scared, Emily. I thought..." He broke off, unable to finish the sentence. The thought of losing her, of history repeating itself, was unbearable. Emily watched him, her brow furrowing as she took in the raw emotion on his face. For years, she had convinced herself he didn't care, that he was the villain in her story. But now, she wasn't so sure. The fear in his eyes, the way his voice shook, it didn't fit the narrative she had clung to for so long. For the first time, she wondered if there was more to the story than she had allowed herself to see. "I'm fine," she said, her voice softening slightly. "Just a couple of bruises and a cut. Nothing serious." Dominic nodded, his shoulders sagging with relief, but the guilt still weighed heavily on him, pressing down like a physical burden. "I'm so sorry, Emily," he murmured. "For everything. I know I failed you, and I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I need you to know how much I love you, how much I've always loved you." Emily looked away, her emotions a storm she wasn't ready to face. She wanted to hold on to her anger, the righteous indignation that had fueled her for so long, but it was slipping through her fingers like sand. Seeing him like this, vulnerable, broken, made it harder to hate him, harder to cling to the resentment that had been her armor for years. Sensing he was overwhelming her, Dominic took a step back. "I should go," he said reluctantly, his voice heavy with regret. "You probably need to rest." As he turned to leave, Emily's voice stopped him. "Wait." He froze, his heart pounding as he turned back. She was looking at him with an expression he couldn't quite decipher, part confusion, part curiosity, and something else he dared not name. It was the first time in years she had asked him to stay, and it felt like a lifeline thrown to a drowning man. I don't understand you," she admitted, her voice trembling. "Why do you care so much? After everything, why are you still here?" Dominic stepped closer, searching her eyes. "Because you're my daughter," he said simply, "and no matter what happens, no matter how much I've failed, I will always care. I will always love you." Emily looked down at her hands, her mind racing. His words didn't erase the years of pain, the memories of feeling abandoned and unloved. But they planted a seed of doubt, a tiny crack in the foundation of the story she had told herself for so long. Could he be telling the truth? Could there be more to their fractured relationship than she had allowed herself to see? For the first time, she didn't push him away. She didn't lash out or retreat behind her walls. Instead, she sat in silence, letting his words linger in the air between them. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was a start. And for Dominic, that was enough. The rain outside continued to fall, its steady rhythm mirroring the tentative beats of hope stirring in both their hearts. Neither of them knew what the future held or whether they could ever truly heal the wounds that had festered for so long. But in that moment, under the harsh fluorescent lights of the hospital room, they took the first fragile step towards something neither had thought possible: reconciliation. Dominic's voice still lingered, his words pressing against the fragile walls Emily had spent years building. "She would have loved you," he had said, his voice breaking slightly as he clung to the memory of Lena. Emily had never seen him like this before, unguarded, raw, entirely human. It unsettled her. And yet, at the same time, it made her feel something she hadn't allowed herself to feel in years. Safe, vulnerable, seen. She stayed quiet for a long while, letting the weight of his statement settle in her chest. The dimly lit hospital room was filled with the soft beeping of monitors. She could see the exhaustion etched into Dominic's face, the shadow of grief in his eyes. He looked older now, older than she ever remembered him being. She still wasn't sure how to reconcile the man sitting in front of her with the father who had left her all those years ago. And yet, there was something undeniably real about the way he was here now, steadfast in his resolve to stay by her side. Dominic didn't push her. He seemed to know when to speak and when to let the silence do its work. He sat beside her, hands fidgeting with the corner of his sleeve, looking at her with a mixture of hope and hesitation. Emily could tell he wasn't sure how far he could go, how much she was willing to let him in. Truthfully, she wasn't sure either. But for now, she let him stay. In the days that followed, their conversations became less strained. At first, Emily allowed only small exchanges, short, factual questions about the world outside her hospital room or updates on her condition. But Dominic always answered patiently, never pushing her to open up more than she was ready to. It was strange watching him now. He seemed so different from the man she remembered, the man who had walked out of their apartment and left her with a mother too broken to pick up the pieces. Or maybe he had always been like this, and she had just never given herself the chance to see it.